Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to General Hospital teasers, Natalia Ramirez would have been better off simply boarding the plane to Belize and taking in the breathtaking environment that awaited her. Sonny Corinthos had everything prepared and was quite giving with all the plans he made. Natalia might have squandered her opportunity to start over. Natalia may have ruined her chance of surviving at all. Marco Rios has been concerned that Natalia would suffer a terrible fate at the hands of the mob boss, because he is aware of Sonny's potential. Marco was therefore disappointed to hear that Natalia would take Sonny's offer of a fresh start, rather than proceed with the legal agreement he had made. To save Natalia's life, Marco almost got her in prison, but Lucas Jones persuaded him that he couldn't be the reason his mother ended up behind bars. However, if Sonny does make Natalia permanently disappear, Lucas might come to regret that counsel. Now that Natalia has been upset over Sonny being a bastard and leaving her, it might happen. The idea that Sonny would accompany her to Belize and seemingly begin a new life with her became ingrained in Natalia's mind. Natalia's belief that Sonny would abandon his kids and grandkids for her is obviously irrational. Sonny promised to keep in touch with Natalia, but he never consented to date or be a part of this fresh start in Belize. Natalia became furious when she discovered that Sonny's name was never on the manifest. Before crashing Daisy's christening by putting herself on the back pew, Natalia had a breakdown in her hotel. Sonny will take Natalia outside for a confrontation on the June 30th episode. Now that she feels betrayed, Natalia will vent her anger by complaining that Sonny was meant to be on the plane with her. Paul the henchman will finally be forced to drag Natalia out of the cathedral by Sonny. Will Natalia continue to travel to Belize, or will Sonny send her to the Pine Barrens or another location with a bleak future? Now that Natalia is so agitated, Sonny's kindness and tolerance might run out. Sonny may come to the conclusion that a full-fledged elimination plot is required, despite his attempts to be kind about everything. Marco would undoubtedly worry if he never hears from his mother again, but the GH writers may even leave it somewhat of a mystery. In any event, a lot of people are curious about Natalia's future now that she has turned on Sonny. Natalia might be a goner because that doesn't work out for most individuals. According to General Hospital spoilers, Sonny might change his plans for Natalia, so keep an eye out for any unfavorable developments. Although Natalia's journey to Port Charles was never going to be easy, few anticipated that she would get caught up in Sonny's unstable world. She initially appeared to be simply another pawn in the Corinthos Empire's power conflicts, but her recent behavior, especially her evasive remarks about Sonny's business dealings, has placed her in the crosshairs. Supporters have seen how Natalia went down a dangerous path out of a desperate attempt to keep her son Marco safe. It was dangerous enough that she told Brooke Lynn about Sonny's dubious financial connections to deception, but her increasing instability makes her a liability. Furthermore, liabilities are short-lived in Sonny's world. Sonny's cruel past with uncertain conclusions. It's important to remember that Sonny Corinthos does not put up with challenges to his empire. The bodies of people who betrayed him or knew too much about him are scattered across his past. Sonny has repeatedly shown that he will remove any barrier in his way, whether it is innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire or erstwhile comrades who have turned into rivals. Sonny's patience has been waning in recent episodes. Unspoken danger permeated his talk with Paul, in which he ordered Natalia to leave immediately for Belize. It appears that he no longer had faith in her to keep silent because he abruptly changed his plans and decided she had to go right away. An experience indicates that he won't think twice about taking decisive action if he thinks she poses a risk. Was Natalia's disobedience a deadly error? Sonny's power was directly challenged by Natalia's startling arrival at Daisy's christening. Her disobedience was evident as she marched into the church and sat in the back pew rather than silently leaving as directed. In Sonny's world, such audacity is not tolerated or unpunished. Even worse, her emotional collapse in front of Brooke Lynn revealed her vulnerability. Unpredictability is hazardous, and a desperate, guilt-ridden woman with nothing left to lose is unpredictable. Sonny might decide she's too dangerous to let go if he thinks she would reveal his secrets in a vulnerable moment. The premonition of Natalia's destiny. For weeks, the writing has been on the wall. A tragic conclusion is suggested by Natalia's sobered admission of ruining her family, Her assertion that she is only in the way of Marco's new life, and her resigned acceptance of exile. What could be more sad than a mother discovering too late that her mistakes have sealed her fate? Poetic tragedy is a favorite of soap operas. Then there's the uncanny resemblance to earlier plots. Sunny frequently handles issues off-screen, only for the bodies to appear later. Will Natalia ever make it to Belize if she takes that plane? Or will she disappear in midair, leaving Marco to learn the terrible reality months later? Fan theories. Last-minute rescue, murder, or disappearance. There are differing opinions among General Hospital fans about how this will transpire. The clearly evident outcome. Sunny orders a hit. Many people think that Natalia's disobedience will be her final error. Paul has already taken care of her relocation, so Sunny would only need to call to make sure she never speaks again. The angle of disappearance. Some others think Natalia will just disappear, leaving a trail of mysterious hints in her wake. By keeping the mystery alive, it would be possible for them to reappear in the future, either as a vengeful spirit or as an unexpected witness in a trial against Sunny. The unexpected turnabout. She's taken out by someone else. Is Natalia the ideal scapegoat for Ava's anger, given that she is still grieving over her own losses? Or may Cyrus Renaud, who is often hiding in the background, find a chance to undermine Sunny by cutting off a loose end? The saving miracle. A tiny but optimistic group of supporters believes Marco might step in at the last minute, making amends with his mother and escorting her to safety. But would somewhere really be safe with Sunny's reach? The rulebook of soap opera. No confirmation, no body. Dead doesn't necessarily mean dead, as soap opera viewers are well aware. Natalia might come back unless her destiny is depicted on film in a way that is unmistakably final. However, the chances are against her given the current course. Conclusion. Will Natalia live? Everything suggests that the answer is no. Given the old soap opera cliché that those who know too much must die, Natalia's mental instability and Sunny's mounting impatience, her days are probably coming to an end. How it will occur, and who will be left to pick up the pieces after it happens are the only questions. There is no doubt that Port Charles is going to become even more deadly. According to General Hospital spoilers, as chaos is going to break out in Port Charles, we have a July sweeps update to share. Unplanned fire at Charlie's pub will be the first sign of trouble, endangering Christina Corinthos Davis and making Jen Sidwell the main suspect. Sunny Corinthos will undoubtedly suspect Sidwell of being responsible for the arson. Given that Alexis Davis is about to encounter Sidwell, the same is true for her. Fortunately, Christina will survive this ordeal, but Sunny won't want Sidwell to believe he can get away with such audacious behavior. According to GH spoilers, Sunny will swear to exact revenge, so Sidwell had best be ready for some backlash. Throughout the month of July, Sunny and Sidwell's feud is expected to continue to intensify, potentially causing significant harm to both parties. We must not forget that Sidwell used some judge bribery to purchase Michael Corinthos' custody victory. The disclosure of that secret could result in Michael losing both Wiley and Amelia Corinthos. Regarding Willow Tate and Drew Kane, there may be some surprises on their wedding day in July. We'll see how things work out, but it looks like the ideal moment for Willow to learn about Drew's past romance with Nina Reeves is during this wedding ceremony. Sasha Gilmore Corbin will continue to have strange experiences with Daisy in the meanwhile. In the middle of all this baby stalking, it seems like someone is attempting to gaslight Sasha. Will she be able to find the offender? Is Michael able to assist Sasha with that task? Jocelyn Jacks will attend Jack Brennan's talk on boundaries, but she might be ready to act beyond the rules if the right occasion presents itself. Jason Morgan might follow through on his pledge to Anna Devane to investigate Professor Henry Hank Dalton, while Jocelyn's WSB mission intensifies. The plots of Jason and Jocelyn might overlap, particularly if everything is leading up to a big Brit Westbourne surprise. Is a lab clone set to make its debut? Or did Brit manage to survive? In any event, there will be a lot of questions and some surprises when Kelly Thibault returns in July. She will undoubtedly regret using Brit and the stolen embryo case against Lulu Spencer. According to Brooklyn Quartermain, being kept in the dark about his real birth story could make Rocco Falconeri lose it. In addition to hurting Lulu, Brooklyn will also harm Rocco and even Dante Falconeri. Brooklyn is in for a catastrophe in July since her plan will only drive Giovanni Gio Palmieri farther away. According to General Hospital teasers, a number of PC residents will experience heartbreak. Stay tuned for updates on all the challenging news that lies ahead. Fans will be left breathless by the July sweeps, which promise a flurry of drama, surprising revelations, and game-changing surprises in addition to the summer heat in Port Charles. No one is immune to the consequences when relationships change, secrets blow out, and long-buried truths surface. Everything you need to know about the thrilling surprises that will be featured on General Hospital this summer is provided here. Unraveling Drew's web of lies. Drew Kane's meticulously crafted facade is on the verge of disintegrating. Even though he has been cold and cunning in his manipulation of Willow Tate, the truth always comes to light. Drew's role in the plot could eventually come to light with the shocking disclosure that Judge Heron had been bought off to give custody of Wiley and Amelia to Michael Corinthos. But Drew will not be defeated easily. Threats, blackmail, and maybe violence are some of the darker methods he will use in a desperate attempt to keep Willow under control. Who will be the first to discover his deceit? Drew's empire of lies might fall apart in an instant if Nina Reeves makes the connection she has already begun to uncover. All bets are off if Michael learns of Drew's involvement in the custody dispute, since he is adamant about protecting his family. The Sonny's empire is under attack. Even though Sonny Corinthos has withstood several opponents, his most recent foe, Ada Turner, isn't giving up. Sonny's secrets are more exposed than ever as her probe into his business operations heats up and Natalia abruptly vanishes. The enigmatic baseball glove gift was only the start. Turner is certain Sonny is responsible, and is resolved to show it's a component of a bigger bribery plot. However, there are others in peril besides Sonny. Christina Corinthos finds herself divided between her growing misgivings about her father's behavior and her loyalty to him. The Corinthos family may be in the midst of their most serious crisis to date if Turner's inquiry results in an arrest. The reckoning of Ava. Although Ava Jerome has been living in a world she created for herself, reality is going to hit her hard. She had reached a breaking point since her breakdown in the hotel room, recognizing that her fresh start was a lie. Ava might turn into Port Charles's most dangerous wild card, now that she has nothing left to lose. What will she do next? Revealing information that others in positions of authority would prefer to keep hidden. Ava is prepared to destroy relationships, regardless of who is affected, whether it's Drew, Sonny, or even Cyrus Renaud. The marriage between Curtis and Portia is in peril. Portia Robinson and Curtis Ashford are about to lose it. All of the animosity, treachery, and mistrust that had been simmering between them were exposed at their explosive encounter at Aurora. Portia is done pleading for Curtis's understanding, because he cannot forgive her falsehoods. However, a startling turn of events could completely alter their marriage, just when it looks like it is finished. They are forced to cooperate, whether they want to or not, as a new threat materializes. Will this catastrophe be the last straw that ends their love, or will it help them get back together? The enigma of Natalia's absence. There are more questions than answers regarding Natalia's sudden departure from Port Charles. She was apologizing to Brooke Lynn one moment, and then one of Sonny's men was dragging her away. Where did she go, though? And why the abrupt departure? There are rumors that Natalia knew too much, which might lead to the downfall of influential people in Port Charles. The consequences might be disastrous if she reappears. What if she doesn't? It's possible that someone made sure she would never speak. The reunion of Jason and Carly causes tension. Although the reunion of Jason Morgan and Carly Spencer has been heartwarming, not everyone is pleased. Old scars are reignited as they get closer, particularly for Drew, who views Jason as a challenge to his authority over Carly's life. However, Jason is not the only issue. Michael is cautious of Jason's influence, while Jocelyn Jacks feels conflicted about her mother rekindling love. A significant conflict that has the potential to permanently alter alliances is unavoidable as tensions rise. The real story behind Daisy's christening. Although Daisy's christening was meant to be a happy event, there were actually plots and secrets going on. Not everything was as quiet as it appeared. From Cody's mounting worries for Sasha's safety to Felicia's persistent inquiries regarding her previous deceit. And then there's Natalia's dramatic appearance. Did she have one more card to play? Or was it a final act of defiance? For weeks to come, the effects of her presence at the church will be felt since it sent shockwaves through the room. Jordan's conundrum. Duty or love? Jordan Ashford finds himself at a turning point. As Portia struggles for her marriage, her unresolved feelings for Curtis are making things more difficult. Jordan wants to act morally, but what really is moral? Her work life is equally disorganized in the meantime. PCPD as a whole is on edge because of Anna Devane's altercation with Ada Turner. Jordan might lose everything, including her career, if she becomes embroiled in this power struggle. Conclusion: an unruly summer. One of General Hospital's most dramatic chapters to date is the July sweeps. No character will survive the betrayals, bombshells, and life-or-death situations. Who is going to get up? Who is going to fall? And when the dust settles, who will be left standing? Port Charles will never be the same, that much is certain. According to General Hospital teasers, Rocco Falconeri may discover the truth about the fact that Dr. Britt Westbourne, not his mother Lulu Spencer, carried him. Britt had her mother, Dr. Liesel Albrecht, implant Lulu's fertilized egg after stealing it from her with her then-husband, Dante Falconeri. In an effort to regain the favor of Dr. Patrick Drake, whom she claimed was the father, Britt attempted to pass off the child as her own Ben Westbourne. Since Rocco would have a lot of questions and Brooklyn Quartermain has gathered material, including Benjamin Westbourne's actual birth certificate, it's possible that Rocco happened upon this information by chance. Rocco Falconeri examined the file of data that Brooklyn Quartermain had collected about him. Brooklyn collected information, and Rocco may have already glanced at his name on the file. He would question what Brooklyn intends to do with this information, and why she has it. Rocco might soon discover that Britt carried him, though, and question why he has never heard of this. He would turn to his mother Lulu, whom he had always thought had given birth to him, as the one person who could provide him with answers. Regarding Britt Westbourne, Rocco Falconeri confronts Lulu Spencer. With the file in hand, Rocco would barge into his house and face Lulu. Lulu would question how Rocco obtained such knowledge. If there is any truth to this, Rocco would ask her, was he carried by Britt Westbourne? Lulu would be honest with Rocco, admitting that Britt did carry him and that first, neither Lulu nor Dante knew Rocco was their son. Rocco can be upset with Lulu for not telling him the truth and question her about why he didn't tell her. It was history, Lulu could say, and he didn't need to know the truth. Everything worked out and he was reunited with Lulu and Dante. Rocco might not think so and consider it a betrayal. The consequences of Rocco Falconeri discovering the truth. Rocco could abandon his parents, Lulu and Dante, now that he is aware of the reality of his conception. Rocco would advise his parents to avoid him since they were dishonest. He would continue to distance himself from Dante even if he returned to the Quartermain estate. As Rocco becomes closer to his new brother, Gio Palmieri, the path to forgiveness may be a long one. In addition, Brooklyn might be held accountable for everything and would have a lot of explaining to do. In addition, Lulu would furiously pursue Brooklyn. When this was done to her, Brooklyn would inquire about her feelings. Prepare yourselves for another confrontation between Brooklyn and Lulu. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you believe Rocco is aware of the truth regarding how he was conceived? When Rocco learns all the information, will he abandon Lulu and Dante? Tension permeated the Quartermain living room as Rocco Falconeri stood still, the DNA test results shaking in his hands. What he had feared most was confirmed by the document, which he had discovered hidden in his father Dante's old files. He was not biologically Dante's son. He was surprised to see Nicholas Cassadine identified as his father. With the ramifications crashing over him, Rocco's chest constricted. His identity his whole life had been based on a falsehood. And the one person he had always had entire faith in, his mother Lulu Spencer, was the one who had told that lie. His head racing, he stormed out of the mansion. He marched toward the hospital where Lulu had been recuperating since the fire at the Floating Rib. The streets of Port Charles hazy around him. He roared down the hallway, his face dark with treachery, as nurses and orderlies retreated. He didn't knock when he got to her room. Lulu was startled awake as he pushed the door open so hard that it slammed against the wall. "Rocco?" she whispered, gazing bewilderedly. Her stomach fell when she saw the hurt and fury on his face. "What's wrong?" He didn't respond right away. As an alternative, he walked confidently to her bedside and pushed the DNA findings into her grasp. "Explain this." As Lulu read the words she had prayed her son would never see, her breath caught. Her pulse thumping in her ears, she gripped the page tighter. Where did you get this? Does it matter? Jumped Rocco. What matters is that it's true, isn't it? Dante's not my father. Nicholas Cassadine is. As though preparing herself, Lulu closed her eyes for a moment. Remorse flooded them when she opened them again. Rocco, I was going to tell you. When? He burst out. His voice broke with emotion as he asked, when I turned 30? Never. Did you think I wouldn't find out? He jumped away when Lulu grabbed for his hand. I wanted to tell you when you were old enough to understand. I'm old enough now, exclaimed Rocco. And you know what I understand? That my whole life is a lie. That the man I thought was my father isn't. That you kept this from me. From Dante for years. The charge made Lulu wince. It wasn't that simple, Rocco. Things between me and Dante, between me and Nicholas, it was complicated. Complicated. Rocco laughed sourly. You slept with Nicholas while you were married to Dante. That's not complicated, Mom. That's cheating. Lulu's face went white. It wasn't like that. Nicholas and we were in a dark place. We weren't thinking clearly. Oh, you were thinking clearly enough to lie about it for over a decade, replied Rocco. Did Dante even know? Or did you let him believe I was his son this whole time? Lulu took a deep breath. Dante found out later. Rocco felt sick to his stomach. With his head racing, he ran a hand through his hair and said, So you lied to him too? Does Charlotte know? Does anyone else? After a moment of hesitation, Lulu shook her head. Only a few people. Laura, Nicholas, Dante. And now me, said Rocco sourly. Because I had to find out by accident. Because you never had the guts to tell me yourself. Tears filled Lulu's eyes. I was trying to protect you. From what? Insisted Rocco. The truth? Or the fact that my mother is a liar? Lulu felt the word strike her like a blow to the body. Her voice broke as she reached for him once again. Rocco, please. He took a step back and shook his head, saying, No. I can't even look at you right now. He turned and hurried out of the room before she could reply, leaving Lulu to bear the burden of her secrets and their terrible repercussions by alone. The repercussions? Rocco stayed away from home. Not yet, not when he was still unable to comprehend what he had discovered, could he confront Dante. Rather, he ended up in the Metro court pool, staring at the water without any intention. Charlotte wasn't close to him when he heard her approach. Hey, she murmured. You okay? Rocco remained silent. He gave her the DNA findings after a little pause. As Charlotte read them, her eyes grew wide. Stunned, she glanced up at him and said, Oh my God, does this mean we're not just half-siblings? Rocco gave a halting laugh. Yeah, turns out we have the same father after all. Charlotte sat next to him, her thoughts racing. Does Lulu know you have this? His voice was flat as he said, I just confronted her. She admitted it. She's known all along. Charlotte bit her lip. What are you going to do? Rocco gave a head shake. I don't know. But I can't pretend like nothing happened. A split family. Word got around Port Charles fast. Laura discovered Rocco at Kelly's the following day, where he had been avoiding people. Her face was hard but soft as she sat across from him. Your mother loves you, Rocco, Laura remarked. She made mistakes, but she never meant to hurt you. Rocco shoved away his unfinished coffee. Then why did she lie? Laura let out a sigh. Because the truth was messy. Because she was scared. That doesn't make it right, but it's the reality. Rocco gazed up at her, betrayal blazing in his eyes. Does Nicholas know about me? Laura nodded after hesitating. He does. And he never cared enough to be in my life? Laura remarked. It wasn't that simple, with caution. There were complications. Rocco laughed. There's that word again. Complicated. Funny how adults use it to excuse everything. Laura was about to reply when his phone buzzed. Dante texted, we should chat. Rocco's chest became constricted. He wasn't prepared for any of it, including this chat. But he was aware that he couldn't run indefinitely. The most difficult discussion. At the PCPD, Dante was waiting for him, his face unreadable. At first, Dante remained silent when Rocco entered. Then he murmured softly, "Lulu called me." Rocco braced himself by crossing his arms. "So you know." Dante gave a nod. "Yeah, I know." The weight of all that was unsaid weighed on the silence that hung between them. At last Dante exhaled deeply. "Rocco, no matter what that test says, you're my son. That hasn't changed." Rocco's throat became constricted. "But it's not the truth." Dante took a step forward. "The truth is that I raised you. I taught you how to ride a bike, how to throw a baseball. I was there for every birthday, every school play. Biology doesn't change that." Rocco's eyes ached and he turned aside. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Dante's mouth tightened. "I wanted to. But it wasn't just my secret to tell." Rocco gave a head shake. "I don't know who I am anymore." Dante drew him into a close embrace. "You're Rocco Falconeri, my son. Nothing changes that." However, as Rocco stood there, he couldn't get rid of the thought that his life would never be the same again because everything had already changed. To be continued. Rocco's finding would have a cascading effect on Port Charles, affecting not only him but also Lulu, Dante, Nicholas, and the whole Cassadine family. It was impossible to turn back secrets once they were revealed.